Let's get this party started. Hello, wonderful combabes! I hope you're all well today. If you don't know me, my name's Clementine and I do videos about makeup and politics. And today I'm gonna do a smoky eye tutorial, really fancy smoky eye tutorial on the beautiful Marijam Didžgalvytė. No, Didžgalvytė. Didžgalvytė.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I'm so sorry. No, really, I should just change it to like Bob. I don't know, Marijam Bob.
Marijam is a freelance content creator on the topics of like really interesting intersection of video games or like gaming industry, sports and politics and tech. Great. You've actually like extended all of your tentacles around like everything in life, and you're like, this is anti-fascist now, this is anti-fascist now, this is anti-fascist now, which I absolutely
love. Sex
is
anti-fascist too.
Sex is anti-fascist, guys, and we will learn soon why. We're gonna have a really cool conversation about basically everything that Marijam does and the really exciting ways in which she mixes all of these different topics to see why gaming is political, why tech is political, why sports and football are political, and why love is political. So yeah, if you want to know about all these things, stay tuned and let's go. So because we're doing a smoky look and dark makeup on the eyes is always just kind of runs down and trickles down, and I find that really annoying. I'm gonna do the eyes first and then the foundation.
Wow, I've never heard this before. You see, learning already. Honestly, like I can't. This is gonna be tricky for me to talk about my shit because all I want to talk is ask Clem all of her amazing makeup routines that I'm learning as well.
All right, close your eyes, Marijam, and tell me. So you are. Let's see. You have a video. A YouTube channel called Left Up, where you talk about news and other political topics around the gaming industry. And you're also a communications director. Is that it?
Well, yeah, head of comms, I suppose. Yeah,
head of comms at the Gamers Unite union, which is a new union, right?
So yeah, I really am super excited to explain a bit more on Gamers Unite International.
Yes.
So yeah, video games industry, it's only 50 years old as such, but it has never had a union movement in it, although workers are really experiencing terrible work conditions where they work 100-hour weeks with no overpay, there's sexual harassment, just ripe in the industry, mass layoffs, etc. So it's not, you know, there's this image of gaming being this like glamorous industry where there's just bars and ping pong tables, etc. But the reality is much harsher, and people are suffering from terrible mental health conditions just brought up by their workload. And yeah, yes, exactly. And yes, there's 0 hours contracts that are being introduced, you know, and outsourcing and just downgrading people's contracts to freelancers, etc. But worldwide, this industry just never had a union. So around 1.5 years ago, a bunch of people got together in west coast of United States during this one particular game developers conference and said enough is enough.
I always start off all of my tutorials, all of my smoky eyes, as going from the lightest to the darkest. So if you're gonna have a smoky eye that's like very dark and very black, what you want to start with is kind of like a peachy, really light color, and I put like a lot of glitter into it. So I just put some peachy light colors around her eyes like this. So not actually on the eyelid, but around the crease. Then I'm gonna move on to progressively darker and darker shades, going from kind of burnt orange to purple-ish, like a really warm purple, and then finally to black. And only then.
I need to mass text everyone who wants to go out with me tonight because like I haven't made plans, but I need to now because I'm gonna end up looking gorgeous after this.
But yeah, tell me more about the union then.
Yeah, so it was this international movement that now has grown to 27 different countries and 5 continents of people really just extremely excited about creating a trade union in their own country. And the big moment for this movement was in December last year when United Kingdom became the first country that actually organized together first legal trade union with the incredible Independent Workers Union of Great Britain. I had a bit of work to do with that, which is just probably my biggest, proudest achievement thus far. And
it's a pretty big achievement, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible because, you know, this and many people were like, why IWGB? But of course, IWGB is just so incredible at unionizing industries that haven't been previously unionized. So you think of like delivery drivers, foster care workers, etc. I think it has been really scary for the industry as well that we have collaborated with such a radical and really, really grassroots trade union that is not, you know, beholden to like the bosses of the union or bureaucracy or anything or any of that stuff.
Because that's the case for the larger, more like well-known and established unions. Why do you think gaming is political? Because we always hear, you know, like, oh, gamers, or like, you know, video games in general, like it has nothing to do with politics, and like the left never really broaches on these topics. And you're one of like the few actually who really does that or really tries to bring that to like a mainstream audience. Why do you think it's so important for us, like, for us to take a very political and like actively anti-fascist view on gaming?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've also only kind of came out of the closet as a gamer maybe only 3 years ago, because I remember seriously, and since then quite a few lefties would come up to me like, I'm actually a huge nerd too. I'm actually a game as well, like quietly. In my early 20s, I spent it in the sort of London squatting scene, and everyone that's so, you know, wholesome, just cycling and gardening and crafting, etc. Where I would be like, I don't know, kind of hiding in my room gaming a bit. I always felt very inadequate because of that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and whenever they would hear that, they'd be like, oh, you know, you're just so sad if you game, you know, there's just this judgment. And as the left, we are like quite technophobic and judgmental towards these more, I suppose, digital ways of spending your life instead of being like all wholesome, you know, and hiking all the stuff. And in the meantime, in that vacuum of progressives not being in that space at all, like certain politics have like definitely developed, but it wasn't our ones. Yeah. So it is now undisputed facts that people like Steve Bannon from Vibrant News and Milo Yiannopoulos circa like 2013, 2014 have been making a huge push of getting involved in these scenes, getting involved in gaming communities, and that really came to the fore in 2014, which is now known as the Gamergate controversy, which was the largest
Gamergate.
I mean, very, very tricky, and I don't think we have enough time to explain what exactly happened, but I mean, suffice to say that it was the largest online harassment that actually spilled into real life harassment campaign that's ever been created against anyone. And what we can now see is that these right-wing fascist actors use the fairly malleable and I guess libertarian, often somewhat of a political community that are gamers, to mold them into a certain politics. And I think it's a huge failure that us as the left haven't been there.
Given the amount of people that are on websites like Twitch, which is a live gaming website, there's more people that go on Twitch every day than go on YouTube, right? Like it's
absolutely, and they stay for longer as well.
And they stay for longer. So anyone who wants to start a Twitch channel and then start talking politics, they'll have a massive audience, like much bigger than any audience that the left probably ever has had.
100%. And just to put it into, you know, numbers, 2017 was the year that video games industry overtaken the film industry. 2019 is the year where video games have now overtaken film and music industry combined. So
it's a massive platform.
Yeah, so it's the biggest cultural outlet there is, right? So, but we don't see it as that until we create some sort of counterculture, and that it's just going to continue. And so what I'm trying to do with the Game Workers Unite movement, of course, is to bridge that gap and understanding that it is through material organizing that we improve ones.
What does material organizing mean?
Well, it is through sort of class-based conflict that one's material conditions will improve, rather than, you know, creating the other out of like the migrant or the woman or the trans person, right? But yeah, what have we done to me?
What have we done to her? I have gone through peach to burnt orange to purple to black. And basically blended it all in. So I've used 2 brushes, one to apply with precision, which is kind of a flat-y brush like this, don't know if you can see it. No. And then kind of like really fluffy brush to circle around and do all the blending in. So what you want to do is basically almost kind of have layers, and the darkest layer, so the black, is going to be the closest to the line. Go for it, go for it.
Oh my god, it's seamless. Jesus.
What I'm gonna do now is basically do the exact same thing, but on the bottom. When you do this, you might also want to start applying your concealer and like cleaning off all the debris of things before you go ahead.
We can't afford to just completely remove ourselves from those spaces, right? Because like, it's not like they're just going to sort of continue to stay neutral. No, like other actors will find themselves there, and but that's what I really find fascinating with your channel as well. Like, I mean, I'm making this like gaming metaphors here as well, but I mean, 5 years ago or so, I wouldn't be able to be a, you know, I don't know, a radical lefty woman in London and talk about makeup. Like, that just wouldn't be a thing. I would just be seen as like
frivolous and
anti-feminist.
Absolutely.
And, so again, the fact that you're so bravely, you know, taking the stance of like, no, you know, I can be a badass feminist and also like know how to contour, you know, that's so fun. Of course, you know, we would all more than like to completely escape the notions of beauty, etc. But in the current state, that's just not, that is not what is going to give us political victories. We have to get our hands dirty and actually offer a counterculture. But I mean, and I don't think just removing yourself from that culture is it. Right wing doesn't do that, you know. Fascists find their way to be there and to really spread their tentacles around.
In the everyday life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, actually that brings us onto another topic that you find really interesting, which is football.
Well, I mean, that's just all down to the incredible Clapton Community Football Club that we are extremely privileged in London to have. I mean, Clapton Football Club has been there since the 19th century, and in the last couple of decades has really, you know, has become extremely welcoming in the local community to outside voices. It has really reacted to mass migration in East London in a very positive way, which is much more, which is very, which is a different voice to what is usually in the football culture, right? So Clapton definitely, again, just offers a counter hegemony to that, if I'm allowed to use such fancy words. And so it's just been incredibly welcoming to the migrant community in East London. But it was, in the past couple of years, has been owned by a terrible manager called Vince, who was really not supporting the supporters and was just taking in the ticket money but not investing in the club at all. So what a lot of supporters did was got together and formed Clapton Community Football Club and basically created a new team. And the last year was the first year of that team, and we won a whole cup, we won the league.
Whoa.
So that's just absolutely amazing. And yeah, they're proudly anti-fascist, they're proudly feminist, inclusive, they have these incredible chants. And you know what, again, as the left, I mean, we have to find places where we can be joyful, right? Like, we've all spent, you know, hours, in the kettles, in meetings, sometimes pointless, sometimes not, in police stations. So much of being part of the left, obviously the good bits, I don't know, hooking up, whatever, but like, so much of it is just self-torture, like, it's just torture, like, I mean, not really, but I mean, it's a lot of hard work, right? Yeah. And it's a place where everyone is just permanently sad, because let's be honest, like, the world is collapsing. So to find those places of joy is possible. Politics of joy, or politics of seduction, as I call it.
Politics of seduction?
Yeah.
What is that?
So I suppose attempting to create political spaces seductive enough for the mainstream, you know? So it's not all just the drag, but that we have an answer to entertainment too. So yeah, so Clapton is now basically, I guess, a cooperative or like member-owned club. Mm-hmm. So they're nearly 2,000 members, and we all own a share in the club, which is absolutely incredible. And since this year, it also has a women's team as well. And I personally, with a few pals, are gonna try and create world's first anti-fascist esports team, electronic sports, which is, so yeah, basic gaming team.
Oh my god!
So that should be really great. Yeah, just trying to make mainstream entertainment strands political, but uncompromisingly so, you know, not liberal. Actually really radical. Because, you know, I think about how I got involved in politics. Of course it was, you know, the calling of a better tomorrow, of course, but, you know, through that so much, if you just devote yourself to that, burnout happens very easily. So we must really create infrastructure and solid organizations that offer places of respite.
Well, that actually brings me to another thing, because I kind of like, I was rummaging through the articles that you've written, and you've done like...
What's that, by the way? Tell me.
Oh, it's the it's the eyebrow gel that I was telling you about. So it doesn't really do much. Well, I have it on me now, but I have pretty thick eyebrows and dark eyebrows in general. If you want to thicken your eyebrows, this isn't really the thing that you want to use, but if you want to fix your eyebrows in place in a certain position all day, that's definitely what I would recommend.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I need that because mine are all over the shop.
I kind of found like this intersection, like this thread inside everything that you do, because, you know, it like, as you said, it sounds really eclectic, but for me, like, your politics are very much about taking anti-fascism and making it something that you can do every day. Like, you have obviously the anti-fascist demos and you have anti-fascist organizing and stuff, but the stuff that we do every day become suddenly ways to spread anti-fascism and regain ground from like encroaching fascism in this world.
So when I was introduced to anti-fascism as a concept I was probably 14 or 15. The concept of what anti-fascism was then and what it is now has really moved forward. Because then it really was just, you know, neo-Nazis versus anti-fascism, street action, street attacks, etc. But that's not enough, because people do get burnt burnt out, and or you know, enough oppression from the state comes in where these movements collapse. So I think a certain wall has been reached where we realize that anti-fascism cannot just stay within that. It's kind of been a bit of a struggle to actually call what we're doing, the everyday or like cultural anti-fascism, whatever, like a thing. I think a lot of anti-fascists are fairly like,
but is it also
not necessarily comfortable with that?
Is it also because they don't recognize the fact that fascism is something that's everyday?
Well, I think they have realized that they have really lost the battle of the fascism that has actually been growing in the online spaces. Mm-hmm. And that's just really caught a lot of anti-fascist, like sort of IRL, or I don't know, like analog anti-fascists off guard. What's been really fascinating is the rise of an anti-fascist identity in the United States, because, I mean, I flipping hate the way that they pronounce Antifa. They go, Antifa. It's Antifa, guys. Come on, get on with the program. It's been there for decades, like, as Antifa. I swear, like, one person, probably on, like, Fox News, just read the word and said it once in the wrong way, and now everyone's saying it now. Like, I was watching Succession, which are a great HBO series, and even they're just all saying Antifa, and it's just, like, it's caught on, which I'm very sad about. But yeah, so, and I think what's been really fascinating was seeing people like Donald Trump really, using that sort of discourse of like, they're all the same. Because I think that really radicalized a lot of liberals saying, no, they're not all the same. So what are these people that they're calling all the same? Oh, these anti-fascist, anti-fa people. Cool, let's check out what is it that they're doing. Yeah, it's been really fascinating to see Americans definitely sort of pushing forward what being an anti-fascist means. And I do think it should be part of everyday life. It should be like part of like dropping your kids at school, part of Oyster card, I don't know, part of like going out and eating, because like we can't afford to be neutral and quiet. Fascism is part of every day, so anti-fascism has to be that too. However, I also think that we need to take our modes of production extremely seriously. So for instance, like I think about this and I talk about this as well all the time, even with gaming, like how can gaming be political, or how can anti-fascism in gaming be political, or how can, gaming can be an emancipatory medium at all, ever. Same with makeup, when actually to produce these things, to produce the hardware, people in the global south are going through incredibly oppressive plight, right? So it is okay for us to have our tools of anti-fascism here as such, but they're all based on oppression of people in the global south.
Yeah.
I guess that's in a way that is the argument that my, I don't know, what I would now call the hippie friends that have moved out of like organizing in these spaces altogether, that would be their argument, being like, hey, but you're utilizing the same tools that are hyper-consumerist and are also causing fascism in other places, right? So, I mean, the conversation and the discourse has to be way wider than just like anti-fascism or, you know, versus fascism. It needs to be anti-capitalist. It needs to be international.
Yeah. You want to make sure that what you do is always done in a very holistic way, like as holistic as your theory, right? You want to fight for the sort of counterattack on a cultural level, but also for workers' rights in the gaming industry, for them to actually have more power to change the way that, as you said, we create like the very basis, like the very infrastructure of how we live in everyday life.
Yeah, and that's been really fascinating because, for instance, football doesn't have that issue. Like, it's just a ball. But anyways.
But what about...
What are we doing now?
I just put highlighter on your cheeks. So we're almost done.
Oh my god! Jesus, I do talk a lot. Oh my god! Jesus, wow!
So we're gonna do a dark lip. Fully matte. I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna have shimmery eyes, maybe a matte lipstick, but to be honest, like, this is kind of a standalone look. Like,
oh my god.
It works. It just works on everything. I just love it. I just love this smoky eye look. Just love it.
You know, I'm gonna be watching this backwards to learn how to do this on myself.
So you do a live stream every 2 weeks, I want to say, like every so often, with your friend Rowan, and you basically take questions. You're like basically an agony aunt, but you talk about dating on the left, and like you give love advice, sex advice, open your lips, and you give like loads and loads of personal experiences as well on, you know, what it has been for you to like date on the left. And then, I know why you're laughing. Pretty awful experiences, like from what I've seen, you know. But it's really like, it's hilarious and it's super wholesome and like relatable, and just I just really love it. And yeah, if you want to talk about it.
Damn, ready for the boys now. Okay, so yeah, Dark Agony Aunts, again, only possible because of the connection that me and Rowan have. Like, it couldn't be really any other person. And so really just check out at Rowan Talks, the incredible legend that is Rowan. So yeah, all kudos to her. That's the only reason why it works. But yeah, no, for all of our, like, you know, body and sex positivity in the left, we're terrible at it. We're terrible at dating. We're most people, most dudes are terrible and bad.
Most are terrible.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's and also like a lot of awesome lefty dudes we've also noticed are like single, and we were just wondering why, and they were just fearful to ask of certain questions without, you know, like, because there was like lots of judgment if you're like not good at something or whatnot. So we created this anonymous platform where people can just ask questions, and we did a couple of first live streamed episodes, and it just caught on. It seems like it's definitely something that people are into, and yeah, we're just kind of doing it every month or so, and extremely just lucky with the way that it's going. Well, I mean, it's completely demystifying us. I actually think that I'm less likely to find anyone because of it, and I don't know, and it's like costing us money because we just drink too much on the show, and I'm like we're telling about all of our experiences, not obviously without any names, and honestly a lot of amazing experiences as well. We've also been blessed in many ways as well, but yeah, it's just, I'm very lucky to have this little baby with Rowan, which is that.
Yeah, no, I honestly really adore it. Like, if I'm gonna say to someone, oh, do you want dating advice? I'll say, go to Anarcho Agony Aunts, because it's really good. And also go to Anarcho Agony Aunts, because it's really good. Thank you.
Thanks, very privileged to have a viewer like you. Thanks.
I think that we're done now. I think that you look beautiful.
I think I do too. Who knew? Fuck, okay, wow. yeah, thank you so much. This has been such an amazing experience. And yeah, please subscribe to Clump's stuff and follow her. And
also, obviously, follow Anna Nuance. If you're interested in like the gaming industry, if you're a gamer yourself, watch Left Up. Thank you so much, Reloaded, for... No, I'm kidding. Did not sponsor our video.
But they should.
But they should. If you have any questions, just ask me, Marijam.
Alright, anyways, on that note,
yes. Bye, lovely babes.
Honestly, like, cause I don't know, I'm anxious and sad most of the time, but like, to now just go through my like portfolio and all the things that I've done, and I'm like, maybe I am cool.
Oh my god, I keep on telling you this all the time. All the time.
So maybe we can, I mean, I'll pay you just to do this as like a weekly sesh for me, you know? Like, you're good, whilst you putting makeup on